Hey, Latin 2 students. I'm sorry I don't get to be with you today, but I wanted to just make a really quick video for you because tomorrow is actually a really important lesson. So if you remember a couple weeks ago when we started chapter 15, I said, hey, welcome to the first part of Verbland, right? So, and I introduced you to the present tense but active indicative verbs, right? We were introduced to those. And so we had the new endings, OST, mustis, und, right? I, you, he, she, it, we, y'all, they. So this time, but all of those meant I am verbing, right? You are verbing. He, she, it are verbing, or he is verbing. Anyways, so today what we're going into is the present passive verbs. Okay, so I'm going to make this as short of a video as I can. I'm going to go on ahead and share my screen here for a minute, and I want you to find your passive verb guidelines that are at the end of your chapter. Okay, so find those, and so you can take notes while I write on this. Okay, let me pull this up. Okay, and I need to be able to write on top of the screen, and so hopefully this will work just fine. Um, okay, so as I said, we are working with the present passive indicative. Okay, so we know when we're talking about passive, we have to have the little word being, right? We're still in the present, so we would have is, right, or are, depending on if it's singular or plural. And then it's being verbed. Okay. That's how we're going to translate it. They have characteristic vowels just like the present active. Number ones have an A. Number twos have an E. Number three have an I, usually. And number fours have an I with a macron. Okay. And there's a couple of special rules that we want to take note of. Okay. The first one, for the third conjugation in the second person, so that's this chart here, and this is this ending here, it's going to have an ending that you wouldn't expect. You would expect an I here before its ending, but instead you're going to have an E before its ending. Okay. The I am odd rule also applies to this chart as well, to the present passives. Okay, so this number one, remember the I am odd rule is the I, the first person in the odd conjugation verbs. That's number one and number three. So it's going to be this one is weird. That's our number one. And in our number three, this first person, right, is going to be strange because they're going to drop, just like the active, their characteristic vowels. Okay, so they're not going to use these vowels here. The other strange rule, or the rule to note that is special or different, is that the third person plural for third conjugation, okay, so that's this guy down here. So this third person plural right here is going to be untur, which we have already learned, right? It's the unt plus the ur. And the fourth keeps its I, but then it's untur. Okay, so let me give you the endings. You are already familiar with these, but the first person is or. Oops, that is an R there. Okay, or. And then it's ris. Do you know it? Or, ris, tour, moor, many. Whoops, that's an I. It's been a long time since I've done Zoom, so I don't really remember how to go back, if I can go back. I guess there's an eraser or something somewhere. I can't remember where it is. Anyways, this is an mini, M-I-N-I. So go ahead and put that in there. And then tour. Okay. So as we apply those to our verbs to conjugate them out. So actually, before we do that, let's go back to or means I am being verbed, right? Ris, you are being verbed. Tour, he, she, it is being verbed. Moor, we are being verbed. Many, y'all or you, plural, are being verbed. Tour, they are being verbed. Okay. So when we put these into our to go on ahead and conjugate them, we see we've got a little star here. We have to remember some rule. Oh yeah, this is the I am odd rule. It does not keep its characteristic vowel. So we just put the ending on there, or, right? Number 2 keeps its vowel. So do the rest of them. So I'm going to go ahead and write in my A's. Okay. And then I put in my endings. So or, ris, tour. That is a U. Moor, mini, tour. Okay. So I'm saying Wilkor, Wilkaris, Wilkator, Wilkamor, Wilkamini, Wilkantor. I am being called. You are being called. He, she, it is being called. We are being called. Y'all are being called. They are being called. Now, you can work out the rest of this chart. You can feel free to work that out with your mom and make sure you get that all right. But let me go ahead and just give you the number 3. Okay, I'll let you do 2 and 4 because they're pretty simple. But the number 3, oh, the I am odd rule applies here. So no characteristic vowel would just be ponor. And then we remember that we would expect this one to be an I. So it would be an I plus ris, but it's not. It is an E. It's different. Poneris. Okay. And actually, I forgot about this when I said it earlier. This E here keeps a macron. So the difference between this one and this one is going to be that it has an E with a macron. Aris. Okay. All right. Let me go on ahead and do the next ones. So we have an I like we would expect here. Ponitur, ponimur, ponimini, and remember this rule right here, number 3 is ponuntur. Okay. So you go ahead and do these, check it to your mom's key, make sure it's good, or she can check it. But this is going to be your quiz next week. So you really need to work on it and repeat, repeat, repeat. So make copies of it before you start writing on it, or before, there's an extra copy in the back that you can use. And so before you start writing on that extra copy, make sure to make copies of it. Okay. So let's just see these in action for a minute. Let me stop sharing. Okay, let me share a different document. Just a second. Okay, let me go ahead and share. Okay, so if we're looking at our text, I had you not read any further than line 60, and then we were going to read together 61 to 81, and that's because in this are contained all of these present passive verbs. So let's just do a little bit of this, and then you can finish translating it on your own. But I do want to get you started. So Marcus is saying, cur ego semper a te reprehendor. Ooh, new ending. Numquam laudor. All right, do you see what he's doing here? We have this new ending in this verb, and we know this ending, don't we? Because we just did it. This is, see if you can find it and think about how you might translate it. So remember, we're present passive. This is the I, and this word means to scold. So I am being scolded. So he's saying, why am I? Remember now, this guy's only here for emphasis because the I is already here. Why am I being scolded always by you? Never, like, am I being praised? Okay, and then it goes on. Now we're familiar, you already know how to translate this. Let's just see what the next new ending is. You can pause it and translate this sentence in between. But notice here we have to, the teacher, tu numquam a me laudaris, Marce, quia numquam recte respondes. Okay, so now we know this one, don't we? OST, mustus on. This is a present active with that S on the end. And we've got this to here for emphasis, just to point this out like, hey, flagging this for you. You have a different change of person here. So he's saying, the teacher is saying, you, there's this first you. Now here's the second one. You are never being praised by me, Marcus, because you never respond correctly. Okay. And you can keep reading this, but I want to just do one more. Actually, maybe two. We'll go down to here, this line 72. Titus says, Nos quoque saepe interrogamur neque perverse respondemus. Okay, so we've got some endings here. We have mus and we have mur. What is the difference between these two? Can you say them? Right? The mur is passive and the mus is active. They both mean we. And we see we have this pronoun here just for emphasis. So we, now there's a we in here too. We also often are being asked, and we, neque, we do not respond incorrectly or wrongly. Okay, so you can see how these are working. This is the same thing in this next sentence. Marcus then complains back again, sed cur vos tam saepe laudimini? Okay, so we've got a vos here indicating for us in our text that our ending is going to be this second person plural, y'all. But why do y'all often, why are y'all often so being praised or being praised so? Okay. So I'm hoping that you can see that this ending here is these endings, hopefully they're standing out to you. This or, ris, tour, more, mini, and the more here. So hang on just one second. Let me check one more quick thing. Okay. Yeah, that is all that I'm seeing here for now. So I'm hoping that this little video will just kind of help you a little bit. Other than this, the only other thing that I noted is that I would like you to read the oh no, wait, that's not in this. Okay, never mind. I was going to say to read the present tense, let's talk about verbs, but you have already just done that with your present active verbs, so you don't have to do that. So yeah, you just have the rest of these lines to go on ahead and read together. And you do have the start of an exercise if you'd like. You could do exercise 6 today and exercise 5 and 7 tomorrow. But whatever works on your schedule. So please just stick to the syllabus and I will see you next week. Please feel free to send me any questions that you might have. Okay, bye guys.